Hello again. I want to make a video to tell you a little bit more about assignment 2, since it is now a much more difficult assignment than the previous one, and it can cause some confusion. The first thing I would like to do is emphasize that assignment 2 is very difficult, and I urge you to start it as soon as possible. Additionally, I've made this note in various places, but it's extremely important. I want to emphasize again. You cannot do assignment 2 if you have not done assignment 1. You can also not do assignment 1 or 2 if you are not up to date on the week 2 forum. Okay? All of this means that, again, as I want to emphasize, you have to do the assignments in the order that they're assigned, and you have to complete them before moving on. This includes the forums. This is because research is a process. When you're doing research, it takes a while to accomplish tasks, and you have to start with small tasks and build as they get more complex. So again, you cannot move on to assignment 2 if you have not done assignment 1. So you can stop watching this video right now if you haven't done it and go get that done. If you are up to date, here are some tips on how to successfully complete assignment number 2. So, first of all, assignment 2 is asking you to find an article from one of the academic journal databases that Mildred Ellie offers. Okay, there are just 3 that you could possibly use at this school for this assignment. Okay, as I state in the PowerPoint, they are CINAHL and Gale Academic OneFile. If you are a medical assistant student, you could use either one of those databases. If you are a business student, you can use Gale Academic OneFile. If you are a paralegal student, you should use LexisNexis. As an instructor, I do not have access to LexisNexis. Only individuals in the paralegal program do. So speak to your chair or the librarian about accessing LexisNexis. So what you're going to do is you're going to find one article through a search on one of these databases. Now, you all have expressed how experienced you are searching Google. This will be much more difficult, and it will possibly require 2 to 3 hours of your time to find. And it will ask you to build on some of the skills that I've been discussing with you. Number 1, it will ask you to come up with keywords. And if you're having trouble with the concept of a keyword, basically the word you enter into the database to find the information, you're going to want to email me, review the past week's PowerPoint, and review the sections of the textbook on keywords. Once you complete the search on the database, you will then go through the various results and choose an article that answers your question. All of this sounds overwhelming, but the cool thing about the assignment that I've given you is it takes you through it step by step. So let's look at the assignment sheet, as you will find in the assignment section of Sakai. Okay? So you basically will have 4 tasks to accomplish on this assignment. The first one is very important. So if you look at number 1 on the assignment 2, the question is, or the prompt rather is, choose a research question from your assignment 1 to pursue, state it below. So remember back when you did assignment 1, what you needed to do at the last part of it was give me 3 research questions. You're going to now decide which of those research questions you would like to look for the answer to, okay? So research in general is having questions and then finding the answer. So you have to decide which question you want to answer. And it should be one of the ones that you completed at the end of assignment 1. It can be a slightly revised question. For example, if I indicated to you that your question needed to be more complex or more focused, try to revise it, spruce it up a bit, and then write it below after number 1. You will be graded on how carefully your article that you find actually answers your question. Moving on to number 2. Here, I'm going to ask you to create keywords. So you're going to determine which keywords you think might be useful for your search. And then you're also going to give me a synonym for them in case the word that you initially chose was ineffective. After that, you're going to then use the database, just as I discuss in the videos that I posted in an earlier PowerPoint. So I'm not going to go through how to use the databases in this video because you already have that on video. If you haven't watched those, you're going to need to. So use your keywords, follow the instructions that I give in the videos earlier, and then you're going to begin searching. For number 3, you're describing to me how you searched, okay, so that I can sort of see if you're using the database correctly, if you know what all of the different parts of the database are. So, when you actually do a search that is successful, you might do 7, 8, or 9 bad searches before you find one that's good. You're going to describe the successful search to me. Number 1, which database did you use? There can only be 3 possible answers here: CINAHL, Gale Academic OneFile, or LexisNexis. Those are the only databases you're allowed to use, and you should list the one that you found the article in here. Afterwards, you're going to tell me which keywords were successful. After that, explain which Boolean operator you use. A Boolean operator is the word and or not, as discussed in the PowerPoint as well, and that determines the relationship between your search words, as explained in the PowerPoint. If you have questions about this concept, because it is difficult, send me an email or speak to a librarian. Finally, you're going to tell me which search field you use. This is discussed in the videos, and it is the choice you made while inputting your search terms on the search interface of the database. And again, this is another complex concept, so if you have issues, speak to me or a librarian. Usually, and as I recommend in the video, you're going to search all text, or you're going to search subjects, depending on the database. Okay, LexisNexis, this will be a little bit different for, but in general, you're going to tell me which search field, and it will probably be all text, or it might be subject. If this does not make sense to you, refer to the videos, the textbook, myself, or a librarian to fully understand this concept. And finally, you're going to have to show what date range you searched within. Another thing covered in the video as to how to accomplish that, but make sure that your date range is appropriate to your topic. For example, if you're a medical assisting student, you want to have a recent date range. You want to find articles between 2010 and 2014, so you get up-to-date information, okay? And finally, part 4, what you're going to do is you're going to download the article, instructions are in the PowerPoint, and you are going to attach your article to this assignment and turn it in. It's very important. If I do not have a copy of your article when you submit this, your grade will be a 0, okay? Because I need to actually look at your article to see if your article is a good article or not. As I stated earlier, you will be graded on whether or not the article you found answered the question you set out to find the answer to. You will also be graded on how accurately you filled this, filled the sheet out, all right? So then let me show you an example of a successful assignment. And this is the example of this is the assignment example that I provide in the week 5 section of the online class. So I pretended to do an assignment here, and the research question I wanted to answer was, what is the relationship between caffeine, heart attacks, and women? Notice that this is a focused and highly specific question, exactly the kind of question you're looking to answer. So after that, I came up with keywords I thought might be useful and synonyms. So, of course, I took my main ideas, which are caffeine, heart attacks, and women, as my main keywords to enter into the search boxes in the database. But because I wasn't sure if these were going to be the most effective words, before I even started, I thought of synonyms to enter in case I needed to try something different. So for caffeine, I have coffee, energy drinks, tea, soda. For the word heart attack, I also thought I would try cardiac arrest. And for women, female is a good synonym. Of course, it might be better suited to finding more scientific information. It's always really important to have these synonyms ahead of time. Alright, so then I move on to part 3, where I describe a successful search. Because this was a medical question, I decided to search Synol. The keywords I ended up using that were successful were caffeine, cardiac arrest, and women. I used the word "and" because it connected all the words together, and as a Boolean operator connects ideas. So because I wanted to find the relationship between these 3 ideas, I used the word "and" to bring them together. And I used the search field all text because I needed to go, as it happened, that was just what worked best. I did try other search fields. Research is also a process of trial and error. And of course I wanted something relatively recent, so my date range was 2008 to 2014. Okay? So notice how everything here is neatly and carefully typed in response to the questions. Okay? And although my name is not on the top of this sample assignment, please put your name at the top of your assignment. While it's an online class and you submit it and on the screen I see who it's from, when I open it up in Word and it doesn't have a name on it, I have to go all the way back to find whose it is. So put your name at the top as well. And then you're going to have a journal article that'll look something like this, okay? The different parts of which I point out in my document for you, but this would be attached as another file in my assignment submission. Okay, and from this I can then take a look and see that this article answers this question adequately, and therefore this was a successful search. The student did a good job on this assignment. Okay, so there are various resources you have to successfully complete this assignment. I do want to emphasize that these ideas are complex, and in order to understand them, you have to read through all of the course material. But if you would like to set up a time to have a conversation with me over the phone, I am absolutely available for that. Additionally, librarians at all campuses all know how to use these databases, and part of their job is to help you find articles with them. I really encourage you to do multiple searches, and please don't do one search and choose one of the first 2 articles that appears in your search results. Take the time to evaluate the articles as I describe in the video, which includes looking through the titles, looking through the publication source, and most especially reading the abstracts of these articles in order to determine if they actually answer your question. Okay? So let me take a moment to see if I've forgotten anything that I wanted to point out. And I don't believe that I have. I think I've covered all I wanted to talk about with assignment 2. It is difficult, and I will emphasize one more time, set aside 2 to 3 hours to do this, and you might make your life easier by doing this on campus, even though you can access the databases from home. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you will reach out to me immediately if you have any questions. Thank you.